Right.
who have kind of, they're so associated with the brand, and they've actually, their heart and soul has become the heart and soul of the company to a degree, and that goes back to the point about value-based leadership. The value plus the vision that then has ignited a whole group, and if you do smart hiring, you've got people who are aligned with that, and then you have a model like Richard Branson. I think the magic and beauty of him is that he doesn't put people in a box.
Right.
And having heard him speak and whatever, I think that's the beauty of that model. So it's not just being willing to let go of the reins a little bit, but then also not saying you're only meant for this and you're only meant for this. But
right.
Everyone who's in the organization is flexible and kind of flowing as things keep changing.
Right. And that works in some cases, but not always.
Right. What about the leader that comes up from the bottom, like a democracy, for example? So that's a very sustaining model, because I guess those that elected the leader are, in a sense, participating.
Well, absolutely. A democracy is participatory leadership. It's not that new of a concept. Right?
No.
I mean, but again, I think there's, but at the same time, those people can also elect bad leaders. And there's a lot of other dynamics that go into what gets somebody elected in a democracy.
Accountability and all that, more in the machine.
Right. Because, what's the first thing that happens when you elect a bad leader? Wow, I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him. Yeah. Somebody voted for him.
Contradicting Winston Churchill, who said democracy is the worst form of government, barring all others.
Oh, absolutely. And he was stealing that from like thousands of Greeks and Romans who've been saying it for years. It's messy.
Yes.
Time-consuming, dirty. Yes.
I would first say one of the key things I've been thinking of today, and coming back to Larry again, who's the kind of keynote speaker in the cornerstone, is that what we're struggling with, I think, is really about the paradox, the leadership paradoxes that we are trying to struggle with. Because on the one hand, what I hear is, all the stuff about sustainability at the end of the day. Will Apple, go beyond Steve Jobs and succeed, etc.? Will we look at Richard Branson, will the brand outlive him? You look at Singapore, and I guess the question is, will if LKY goes, what's going to happen at now, right? So you've got this paradox on one hand about the personality cult type situation of leadership, which is one, and obviously all of these guys actually are centered because they are actually value based.
Right.
LKY is the kind of believe in law, that's the cornerstone, and Branson and Apple on innovation, etc. That's one end of the spectrum of the paradox. But the other one is actually interesting. As they grow, it becomes institutionalized. So a lot of these practices and the values become institutionalized, and it's an institution that actually thrives and has the possibility of sustainability, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that could explain Apple now.
Yeah.
We built that in.
That's right. But I think there's also a conundrum here, because the stronger the culture, the harder it is for them to adapt. So we come back to fluidity, right? The genes of this world and all that. When you've got an IBM, you've got this, it takes decades, it's a very mindset thing. And it's only, and your speed of change is really fast. He said, the time for you to adapt as a human being means that the stronger the institution, the harder it is to change. And, in order for you to sustain at the end of the day, you have to build in the values in your corporate culture of fluidity and education, etc. So it comes back to what you said.
No, absolutely, and I think that is a really big challenge. How do you build in sustainability, but not with that rigidity, and that inflexibility. Especially nowadays, when it's hard for a single leader to know everything. There's the amount of information that comes in to make any kind of intelligent decision in a timely manner. You've got to delegate that out. You simply have to. But how far do you take it? When does that become this rigid kind of a model? Yes, sir.
Singapore is moving, corporations moving towards where the bosses are the baby boomers. They are the census leaders. Then the senior managers are around baby boomers and Gen X. Then we have the corporate. Yeah, and the company approaches you and asks you for interview, share. How will you start? What will you do?
Wow, it's touchy. I guess it does depend on what the company, how the company is structured now. you know, what are they doing, and where are the examples for that? I think you're seeing a lot of companies organizing teams, especially smaller level, you know, single activity or product kind of teams. Ours are organizing more in this kind of a shared model. Everybody taking responsibility for the greater product, but working and leading in their particular skill set, following and helping others when it's not really their skill set. So I think it's a team thing. If it gets too big, I think it's too hard to control.
Who will you work with first? I'm asking.
You have to look at the structure, and I think you have to get the buy-in of the boss. You've got to start at the top, because anything that comes down, you know, you want to be more bottom up, but really in a lot of situations, especially business, it is important to be top down to a certain point. So if they don't buy in on it, nothing's going to ever change. You can have the most motivated, excited employees, and they want one thing, and the boss doesn't buy it. Guess who's going to win? He'll win it, or she'll win every time. So they have to get the buy-in, and then once they understand and they agree that we're going to restructure these teams to be this way, then you have to filter it down to the next level and the next level, right? So it just depends on the structure.
HR is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
If that person doesn't get it, then you need to hire a new one.
I'm
To make that happen.
going to change my view that CEOs are not the target.
Okay, so you're completely off the center now.
They believe in you, the rhetoric of it, and then they don't care anymore. And yet, when they believe in certain values, they don't get translated either. Because the HR and the middle management, senior management, are really the hurdle. Won't you work with them first?
No, I would just still get the CEO to buy in, because I do think that, you know, they can, you know, that is, and I think that's true of good, kind of in this shared, centered model. That CEO has to do more than just believe in the vision and then walk away. You know, and like the face point, I think they have to be involved in talking to those middle managers, the HR, you know, the marketing, whoever else, and in being part of that conversation and empowering and actually kind of supporting this change of mindset, you know, because it's easy for outside consultants to say something, but when the boss is actually there, it does make a much greater impact. And I think it's part of their responsibility. Yes.
Larry, you agree with that?
The first day of our conference, Dr. Singh noted about the Japanese model that has a 250-year, outlook on how they're going to manage. How do you look at that when you think measures that? And again, Japan has got its own unique. I mean, they're
unique.
Okay, after living 5.5 years there, I understand to check that, but they've got a longevity and they've got a management style. Okay, that is focused around the entire culture. The culture has become this.
Well, again, I think that works for Japan, but I'm not sure that's a model that you can sustain other places. But it is interesting because but that's the thing, and I don't know as much about Japan, I've only visited, so I'll defer to you on this one. But I think that, when I understand it, it's, you enter the corporation and you kind of, the path is set, right? And you work your way up and you, this level, this level, this level. Yeah, right? Jobs for life. But even that's changing now, right? It's not even, there's more fluidity and flexibility within it. I think that's the thing. It's all about taking the young leaders, recognizing them, or just processing them. Like, I don't think it's a recognition on their part. I think it's more of this process.
What about growing the leaders? So they literally from, it's go to the right elementary school, so you can go to the right junior high, so you can go to the right college, to the right corporation, to the right...
I think that's one way that is definitely one way to do it. It incorporates that idea of the succession planning and building it all in. But at the same time, as they're going through it, how much actual responsibility and ownership do they have of individual activities? They're the group. But aren't they also being led at some point? Yeah, Japan's an interesting thing. I don't know as much about Japan, to be honest. I can't really. But I see I'm out of time.
There's one thing, Mike, just before you go. That lady has been putting up her hand for many times.
I'm so sorry.
I'm just wondering whether you still have something to say, you want to say, yeah.
I'm terribly sorry.
No, it's fine. Actually, there were 2 points in time when I put up my hand. There were 2 different points.